All right, this is video number 5, I think. We're going to be making stir-fried noodles. Pretty easy and pretty basic. What we're doing, I'm going to be using shrimp. You can use whatever protein you want, chicken, beef, pork, or not have any at all and just do vegetable. So the first thing we want to do is we want to prep everything. And the way we want to prep everything is we want everything together vegetable-wise. We're going to put vegetables no matter what. And then my shrimp will go into as well. So what I want to figure out is what's going to cook the longest. So off the top of my head, broccoli and carrots take the longest, okay? So we want those separate from our onions, our squash, and our ginger. Okay, on the broccoli, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this lovely broccoli, I'm gonna cut off what we call the head, stalk, both. Okay, depending on what size broccoli you want, I like to just pick it off. I get to this point, I cut, kind of break it apart. Okay, then I just cut this piece. Same here, pull them off. At that point, pull these apart. Yeah. Cut them either in fourths, cut them in halves. Okay. Boom, we got that. Next, what you need is a peeler for the next part of the broccoli. Okay, we don't want some of this. A lot of this stem is going to be a little too fibrous for us to eat. Just going to cut off a little bit of the end, and then we're going to peel them. Okay, peel it down to white. What you're trying to get to. If you compost, peels go in the compost. Okay. Pretty much I like to start right where the broccoli starts to branch out, to where I start to peel down. Okay, I leave this kind of intact. And then cut it in half lengthwise. Half again, quarters. Cut the same with the other side. Lengthwise, half. Half. Goal is to get roughly the same size bites throughout the whole thing. So we want our broccoli to be around the same size. I know these are kind of long. If you don't like them that long, just cut it off. Not a big deal. You still eat it. It's all good. It's all tasty. Okay, on our carrot, standard peel to begin with. Or you can wash it really good and not peel it. It's up to you. Okay, I'm gonna cut off the very tip. I'm gonna cut off the end. All right, really hard to work with. So I'm gonna start by cutting it in half. Okay, I'm gonna make quarter moons. What I like to use. About 1/4 inch thick. So you use that claw grip so your hands are nice and safe. Okay, throwing them in with the broccoli. Same with this. Got it? Okay, so on to onions. Onions, it's up to you how you want them. Generally like to keep things same size, same shape. Makes it a whole lot easier. Some people like to do julienne cuts because they like onions more. Some people like bigger pieces of onions. It's really your own personal flavor, taste on how you like onions. If you like them big if you like them little. My wife does not really care for big pieces of onions. She prefers them more cooked. So what I end up doing is I end up cutting them smaller. So we're just gonna do a small dice. So I'm gonna start by cutting that way. And then I'm gonna do slices. Turn it back around. Okay. Yeah, I will be cooking these pretty good, so I add a little extra. I know. Doesn't like onions, but I still do it. Next is the yellow squash. Okay, for this, I'm going to cut off the ends. And really it comes down to how big a pieces you want. You want them to be roughly the same size as those. These do not take as long to cook, so I cut them into thirds like that. Okay, I really like to be able to actually take a bite of vegetables, so I make them a little bigger. I'm not trying to be sneaky and sneak veggies in. I am actually putting veggies in. Okay, I'm on the narrower end, so I won't cut it in thirds, I just cut it in half. But we're still trying to go for the same size here. Got that so far. And into a bowl. I will hold it all, but that's okay. I'm out of bowls. What happens when you make these videos and you prep all day? Run out of bowls. So we have our vegetables. Last thing left is ginger. Now first people think, oh, I'll use that to peel my ginger. Actually, makes it harder, in my opinion. I like to use a spoon. Okay. One, I don't have to worry about cutting my finger trying to get in these little crevices like you do with a peeler. Two, it comes off just as easily as using a peeler. So all you're doing is pulling with this part, your thumb. You just want to get the skin off. You don't need a whole lot of the meat taken away. Is that the right term? I don't know if that's the right term, but I call it the meat. Let's go with the meat. Then I go up just to make sure I got it all. And then what I like to use, instead of grating it, I have one of these little microfilms, whatever you want to call them, cheese graters, yeah, whatever, and you just slide it across. Okay. A whole lot easier. I do it right into the onions. Some people tell you not to do that. Some people will tell you to do that. It just depends. Growing up, my grandma always put it in early. Okay. You can also do this with garlic if you want. Just be careful because you can't cut yourself on these microflame, and they hurt a lot because it's very dull. Okay. All that ginger. All ginger. Can't go wrong. You really want to make sure though is that you get real ginger. Fresh ginger is better. Powdered ginger is okay. Don't get pickled ginger. It will not taste the same. It'll throw your flavors off. Okay, so these are prepped, ready to go. Next thing we do is our noodles. I'm going to use these today. They are just stir-fry noodles. I've actually never used them before, so we're going to see how it turns out. My daughter picked them out and said she really wanted Chinese noodles, so she picked those out. What I would normally use, a rice noodle would be good. Even spaghetti noodle, just regular old spaghetti or angel hair pasta would work just fine. So we're going to get those on. Put them in boiling water. Put about a teaspoon of salt in it. Once it comes to a boil, put your noodles in. The package says 10 to 12 minutes. We'll see if that's right or not, but I usually don't go that long. We'll see how that goes. And then the next thing we're going to do while we're getting our water started is we're going to get our sauce made. And our sauce is going to be made a little differently, and it's going to be real simple. And we'll see that here in a second. Okay, so for our sauce, we measured out tablespoon brown sugar, 1/3 cup of soy sauce, a 1/2 cup of water, a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar, and a tablespoon of sesame oil. Okay. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna stir these all together into a bowl. Okay. And we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to it. Bear with me, I'm running out of bowls. So, put the soy sauce first. Brown sugar. Water. Rice wine vinegar. And sesame oil. If you would like to spice this up, you can add a little bit of red pepper flakes or sriracha. Tablespoon of each works pretty well. Okay, and then we're going to add a tablespoon. This is your thickener, and a 1/2 tablespoon and a 1/2. If you need conversions for a 1/2, 3 teaspoons go in a tablespoon. 16 tablespoons in a cup. Okay, then we're going to whisk it together. Other things you could add to this if you really want, you can add some ginger powder, garlic powder, oyster sauce. Oyster sauce, if you add it, like 2 tablespoons. Fish sauce, add like a teaspoon. Worcestershire sauce will work in this as well. So, just depends on how you feel about it. Okay, so we have our sauce ready, our veggies. Last thing I'm going to show you is my shrimp, which, again, if you don't like shrimp, it's okay. You can use chicken or beef. You can buy it at Dillon's. You can buy it frozen, fresh. Hy-Vee has them. All grocery store has shrimp. So this is frozen shrimp. Usually I buy it. It is deveined, which means it has been cut right here, but it still has the shell on. If you ever have trouble getting the shell off, easy thing I've found, since this is open, grab the tail, give it a nice little pinch. You should see movement here, and just pull. The whole thing comes off. Okay. Just pinch. It's actually pretty easy. And then the size of your shrimp, you can leave them whole if you want, but what I like to cut it up a little bit. Usually I'll cut them into thirds, if not halves, especially for my daughter, who doesn't like the gigantic shrimp, or she likes the gigantic shrimp, that's just all she eats. But again, it's up to you. Okay, this is frozen. All I did to thaw it is put it in a bowl with water and stirred for about 20 minutes. I think I started this shrimp after I got all the vegetables out. Just in a bowl with some water, room temperature, lukewarm water, whatever you want to call it. Don't go ice cold water, it'll take longer. Try not to do hot water because it will start to cook the shrimp and we don't want that. I got that. With these shells, if you want, you can put them in, cover them with water and boil them off, and you'd have a good seafood stock with some carrots and onions. Make yourself soup, seafood soup. I know a lot of people aren't into seafood around here, but that's okay. Okay, so all I'm gonna do is cut them into thirds. Back into this bowl. Okay, shrimp does not take a long time to cook. So when I'm cooking my stir fry, I will add this probably, I'll probably start with the onions, then I'll add the broccoli and carrots. Let those cook for a little bit, then I will probably add the shrimp and the yellow squash and the sauce. Okay, this sauce, when we get to that part, it needs at least 3 minutes of cooking. And the reason why is to get it up to temperature and get the cornstarch working so it helps thicken our sauce. And if your sauce doesn't get thickened, that's okay. We can add a cornstarch slurry and I can show you how to do that. Some of you might remember, some of you may not. We'll see. But yeah, shrimp in thirds. Chicken takes a little while to cook. If you use beef, it's okay to leave it medium rare to medium. Not gonna hurt anything. Pork, same thing. Okay, shrimp doesn't take long. Okay, so we're moving on to our stir fry. Noodles are cooked. Got a wok on. If you don't have a wok, a good skillet will work too. Okay. For most Asian dishes, I like to use sesame oil. If you don't have sesame oil, that's okay. Olive oil will work too, or any other cooking oil. About a tablespoon into the pan. Nice and hot. There's a little water in there, that's why it's sizzling. Got it. Onion. Right in. Okay, if you are using chicken or beef or pork, you would put this in. You would put it in now. We're doing shrimp, so it doesn't take as long to cook. You would get that in there as well. Okay, onions are cooking. You can give them. They're really fragrant right now, as well as the ginger. Okay, I'm going to add our carrot and broccoli mix. And I'm going to hit it with a half a cup of water. Okay, with water. Use that to deglaze the pan so it gets stuff off the bottom. And it's this ginger that's stuck. Okay, you can see the broccoli turning a brighter green. And at this point, I'm going to add my shrimp. Top. Let it out a little bit. And I'm going to put a lid on it. Let this go for about 2 or 3 minutes. Just want steam in there. That's what we're doing. Helping cook that broccoli, helping cook that shrimp. Okay, got a good boil in the simmer. I'm going to give it a stir. And you'll see the shrimp starts turning pink. It's starting to cook. Okay, so our broccoli has turned a nice color green. I went a little heavy on the onions. You don't have to. Okay, and then I'm going to add our little squash. Stir it in. Put it back on. Another minute or two. Okay, last but not least, we're going to add our sauce. Give this a stir before you pour it in. Sugar and the cornstarch have settled, so just give it a stir. Get it up off the bottom, put it right in the middle. Give it a stir. You'll see your sauce will start to thicken. As you can see, we want to get it up to a nice boil or a simmer. Keep stirring. Make sure we stir all our ingredients together. Get them nice and covered with the sauce. Sauce is nice and hot. It's getting thicker. What we want. Usually, you know, a dish is pretty good when it's colorful, and this is a pretty colorful dish. So simmer. And these are cooked noodles. Turned out pretty good. I like a little longer noodles myself, but that's just me. First time using them, they're pretty good. I like how they look. I was worried. They cook a long time. And just stir it in. And at this point, I will turn off my heat, but I'll leave it on the stove. And I'll keep stirring and stirring. And get that sauce all mixed in there. Really smell that ginger coming out. And the great thing is if it's not seasoned enough for you, salt and pepper. That's what we got it for. If you want to stay a little more traditional, go with some soy sauce. Okay, and then we will plate it. Let me grab it. Here. Those are on top. Get some of these really colorful veggies. And then for funsies, if you'd like to finish, I have some cilantro leaves. All you do is you can chop them up if you want, but a couple whole leaves, mince them up if you'd like. If you don't like cilantro, don't put it up. And there we have our stir-fried noodles. You could, if you wanted to, not put the noodles in and put them over rice. You could serve this over any variety of starch that you wanted. You get crazy and make yourself some horseradish, or not horseradish, wasabi mashed potatoes and serve it over it. But all you do is stop before you add the noodles. Just let it thicken. And there you go, stir-fried noodles.